When you think of the 12 apostles, Peter usually steals the spotlight. But what about his brother, Andrew? Born in Bethsaida, a modest fishing town along the Sea of Galilee, Andrew's story starts in the humblest of circumstances. Now, you might be wondering, was Andrew just a background character? Actually, his journey begins with a bold move. He was a disciple of John the Baptist before ever meeting Jesus. John calls Andrew the first called, that is, the first to recognize something monumental in Jesus. Think of Andrew as the early adopter in a world of latecomers, the kind of person who joins a tech trend before it becomes cool. Here's some context. Fishing in Galilee wasn't just a job, it was like running a small business. Andrew knew the tides, the patterns, what we'd call market trends today. And these skills would soon serve a new purpose. So, let me ask, what drives someone to leave a stable life and follow an unknown teacher? For Andrew, it was a spark of conviction. And as we'll see, that spark set off a chain reaction that changed history. Picture this. Andrew and another disciple are standing with John the Baptist when Jesus walks by. John declares, "Behold the Lamb of God." Now, in today's terms, that's like a trusted mentor endorsing a new CEO on social media, major credibility. Andrew takes the hint and follows Jesus, asking a simple but profound question: where are you staying? This moment is a turning point. In technical terms, Andrew performs what's called a paradigm shift, switching from one worldview to another. Imagine swapping your operating system overnight. Let me tell you a story. Instead of keeping this discovery to himself, Andrew goes straight to his brother Peter and says, "We've found the Messiah." Now, you might be thinking, why not keep the secret for personal gain? But Andrew's instinct is to share, not hoard. This act of bringing Peter to Jesus has ripple effects, setting the stage for Peter's prominent leadership, but also showing Andrew's true strength, connecting others to something life-changing. Andrew might not be front and center in the Gospels, but he plays a critical backstage role. Ever heard the phrase, "power behind the throne"? That's Andrew. Let's break down two moments. First, the feeding of the 5,000. The crowd's hungry and the disciples are baffled. Andrew spots a boy with 5 loaves and 2 fish. Not much, but he brings the boy to Jesus anyway. In management lingo, Andrew's a facilitator. He identifies resources and connects the right people. Now, you might say, that's hardly headline news. But sometimes, greatness is about small introductions that make big things possible. Later, some Greeks come to Philip, wanting to meet Jesus. Philip isn't sure, so he consults Andrew. It's Andrew who bridges the gap, taking the request to Jesus himself. Cultural liaison and network node, those are the technical terms for Andrew's unique position. So, if you've ever facilitated a meeting or vouched for someone, you're following in Andrew's footsteps. His legacy, quiet, consistent influence that holds the community together. After Jesus' resurrection, the apostles scatter. Andrew, according to ancient tradition, travels far and wide, possibly as far as Scythia, the region north of the Black Sea. Now, you might be thinking, how do we know any of this? Historical evidence is thin. Most details come from church writers centuries later. But the pattern is clear. Andrew becomes a missionary, a term meaning someone sent with a crucial message. Imagine a startup evangelist pitching a new idea to unfamiliar audiences. Legends say Andrew faced tough opposition, hostile crowds, harsh climates. The martyrdom motif, dying for your beliefs, emerges here. And for Andrew, It said he was crucified on an X-shaped cross. Let me ask, why do stories of sacrifice endure? They crystallize a person's values. For Andrew, his willingness to go to the margins was his testament. Today, places as far apart as Greece, Russia, and Scotland claim Andrew as their patron saint, a testament to his far-reaching influence, even if the precise details are lost to history. What can we take from Andrew's life in our modern, hyper-connected world? First, his humility. He didn't seek the spotlight, but he made sure everyone had access to it. Secondly, his role as a bridge builder, that's a technical term in both social networks and engineering, reminds us that influence isn't always loud. Sometimes it's the quiet connections that drive real change. Now you might be asking, can one person really make a difference if they're not a leader? Andrew shows us the answer is yes. By bringing others together, we amplify our impact. Let me end with this. In a world obsessed with firsts, headlines, and viral fame, Andrew's story is about steadfastness and subtlety qualities we all could use a bit more of. So next time you see a headline about a game changer, remember Andrew, the quiet force behind the scenes who shaped the course of history.